Dobar dan, dragi gledalci, dobrodošli u još jednu epizodu Perspektive Level Up. Moj današnji gost je Lehan sa Cats Academy Boston, konkretno direktor škole. On je tu danas da nam prenese nešto više o njihovoj školi, ali isto tako o putu koji generalno poduzimaju sportisti kako bi putem sporta i srednje škole stigli do univerziteta. Michael, thank you very much for being here today and for making the time to do this.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. So can you tell me a little bit about yourself and your role at the school and explain to me how your school is unique?
Sure, absolutely. Thank you. Michael Lehan. It's my first year at Cats Academy Boston. A little bit about my journey is before I got into education, I spent 6 years playing professional football. After the football, I was
American football.
American football. Yes, I need to be specific there. Yes, American football. I know it doesn't look like it, but then after that, I went to get some more degrees and was a principal, assistant superintendent in public schools. Then I had the opportunity to transition into more of the private schools, and I was head of school at IMG Academy, and then oversaw 10 campuses with Fusion Education Group, which led me to Cats Academy Boston. As we think about what makes Cats Academy Boston unique, I love the kind of triangulated approach, the three-prong approach as we think about academics, athletics, and the arts. Specifically, I think what makes even Cats a little bit more unique is the fact that we're part of the EYBL for our basketball. So we're playing in the top league in the United States from a basketball prep experience. So we're seeing really, really good competition from that standpoint. So again, the three-prong approach where you have some really great outcomes academically, great outcomes from an art perspective, and certainly our basketball is nationally known.
And that's great to hear. You forgot to mention the ice hockey program as well.
We do. We have an ice hockey program as part of our athletics. Really good outcomes there. Boys, girls, hockey playing at a very, very high level. We have 4 teams for our boys and 3 teams for our girls.
Oh, that's amazing. And speaking of Cats, so what's one thing that students are usually surprised by once they get to campus the first time?
I think what they're surprised by is the fact that we have structured independence in the sense that, yes, we're very, very close to Boston. And because of that, we want to make sure that our students have the opportunity to interact with all the history that Boston has to offer, all the food Boston has to offer, and just really have the opportunity to develop themselves as young people. And by way of doing that is whether it's going to any sort of presentations at the local colleges, universities that are there. And so, yes, we set high expectations, and we want to make sure that we leverage our proximity to Boston as a very learning and developmental opportunity for our students.
That's good to know. Now, can you tell me, so since your proximity to Boston probably plays a huge role in students' day-to-day life, what does typical day-to-day life of a student at Cats looks like, and how is proximity of Boston involved in that day-to-day life?
Absolutely. Great question. So we have breakfast opening at 7:30, closes at 8:15, classes start at 8:20. At that point, students will take a couple of classes in the morning, we'll break, pause for lunch, and then we'll take a few classes in the afternoon as well. In the afternoon, 2 days a week, we have advisory within the schedule, and then we also have club time 2 times a week within the schedule as well. The advisory is an opportunity for another touch point, another adult to be deeply invested in the outcome of our students and make sure that we can ask those critical questions. How are you doing? How are your classes? Is this place right for you? And if so, what is it that you might need? And the club time, we know that holistic development is critically important for our young people, that when colleges and universities look at the profile of our young people, they want to see a very diverse experience and interest. Certainly diving deep into particular areas, but the fact that they are proficient across many different areas, because in doing that, they'll then be able to apply their scholarship, their curiosity, and go deeper. Beyond that, we'll have sport and activity in the evenings. There'll be a little bit of downtime before we have study time in the evening. That's going to be the opportunity for students if they want to go grab a quick bite to eat off campus, or if they want to walk somewhere off campus and go to the convenience store, they have the opportunity to do that as well. At about 7:30, they'll be back on campus engaged in some study hours. Then we do lights out right around 9:30.
Nice. Now, I just want to ask you if you can just tell us one thing. I do believe that uh, players that are student athletes that are involved in basketball academy and ice hockey academy do have a little bit different structure of the day. Now, I just recently spoken to Coach Carrick for some student, and I know they usually start their days like 5:30 in the morning,
Yes.
and they finish classes a little bit earlier, and their day is more structured towards that sport.
That's correct. That's correct. So they do start the day a little bit early, whether that be early morning training, weight room, conditioning, whatever the case might be. So oftentimes we'll have a group of students that are already deep engaged into their day before breakfast starts. So they'll train anywhere from 6 to 6:30 in the morning, start till 7:30. Go back, shower, hopefully shower.
Hopefully they have time to shower.
Hopefully they have time.
Yeah.
Come back and start the classes. To your point, each of our academies, whether it's hockey, basketball, they will be done right around 12:30. At 12:30, that's when they'll invest in sport. So they're going to be in classes from pretty much 8:30 to 12:30. Go to sport after that, train, and then they will come back and do enrichment if needed, academic support if needed, and certainly the study hours later in the day.
Understood. So there is a difference if they want to be more involved, but of course they're there with the different goal. So to
Sure.
say, they're more inclined towards getting that college scholarship for that specific sport. Now, speaking of international students, and usually all this rigor and all this structure comes is new to them. Does it take for them a long time to adapt?
I think each student is on their journey. But what I will say is that part of our enrollment process is really being very clear and articulating what the experience is. Many of our athletes, they'll arrive to campus before the school year starts. So this provides us a great opportunity for them to get familiar with what their schedule is going to look like, and with the cadence of how their days are going to look. There's a ton of support that we have, whether it be the coaches, whether it be the advisors, whether it be the teachers. These are programs that we've had for quite some time and are deeply integrated into our school community. So although it might be new for a student, it's not new to us. And so part of it is about onboarding them appropriately and then supporting them with their questions and knowing where their resources are.
So as they're getting more involved, as they're making friends, as they're getting adjusted, everything becomes easier for them. So having said that, can you just dig a little bit deeper how they adapt towards the academic piece of it? Now, the American education system is different than
Sure.
education system in Asia, in Africa, in Europe, in South America. Now, what would you say makes the US system different? But when you speak about the US system, focus on CATS Boston as a unit.
Yeah.
How does CATS differentiate from other schools in the US and the system on the global scale?
Yeah, I think that what makes CATS most unique, certainly the schedule, modifying it appropriately for our athletes to not only demonstrate their academic proficiency, but then also invest deeply into their athletic interest as well. As you think about a global scale, whether that be through the context or through the lens of some of our Asian markets, whether that be China, Japan, Hong Kong, so on and so forth, or whether it's the UK markets where you don't see as many elective courses. That's really what makes CATS most unique within these markets, is the fact that we have a number of elective courses. Because yes, you might be interested in sport, and it's important to develop your profile beyond sport as well. In doing so, we have a lot of honors and AP courses as well to demonstrate your academic rigor. And we also have a ton of art options as well, whether it be fashion design, photography, just the list goes on and on. So I think the uniqueness, and then we have concurrent enrollment and some of those other things, but the uniqueness is really about the electives from a global context. It's the electives that we have to offer, and then the flexibility within our schedule to make sure that students have the opportunity and the autonomy to a certain extent to really develop their profile in meaningful ways that's going to best position them for the colleges and universities they choose to attend.
Speaking of that positioning, and I'd like to focus just a little bit more on student athletes here. What opportunities do student athletes have in your school to get recruited and to continue to the next level, that college, university level, whether that's going to be Division 1, 2, or 3?
One thing that I'm most proud of at Cats Boston is that whether they're the general manager of basketball or whether they are the head coaches or the program manager for hockey, each of these individuals are deeply connected within the landscape of their sport. And so as a result of that, you'll see showcases. We hosted a EYBL tournament on campus, and we had some of the top teams come and train on our facility. Now, we played the tournament off campus, but they were on campus, and that gave us a great opportunity to invite coaches to come and watch. As we think about some of the matriculations that we had through the lens of hockey, certainly as a result of that, as some of the success that we've had, that's going to intrigue coaches. Basketball, going back again, we have some really good partnerships with AAU. So we know that throughout the year, there's going to be colleges coming in to ask questions. Beyond that, we have the connections to be able to send tape. I also want to get ahead of it because I was a D1 athlete myself. Getting recruited is very, very difficult, right? It's absolutely a difficult thing to do. However, we will do what we can to make sure that our student athletes are best positioned to maximize their potential.
Of course, and I know also from my experience that it's not a guarantee that it's a job that you need to do. You need
Absolutely.
to do a really good job. You need to prepare. You need to invest in yourself, in your academics, in your body, because every single piece matters. Now, when these students have and these student athletes, to be precise, when they have such a rigorous day with all the trainings, all the workouts and everything, and their academics is a little bit reduced, how do they usually balance sports and academics? What support do they have from Cats with all that, sport perspective? Because what people tend to think is that, and I like this, usually parents, they don't want their kid to be just sport focused, they want strong academics. Yeah. Now, I tell some parents based on their kids that their talent level requires such and such a place. For example, Basketball Academy that has a year-long program that has all these trainings, etc., because that's the kind of development their child needs. And then they have just a little bit less classes. So will that kid get out less smart, or God forbid if they struggle, how do you support them to have equal treatment academically as other students?
Yeah, we really want to, each student that comes to our school, we'll do an assessment just to understand kind of where they are from a baseline. We'll do some nationally normed assessments to better understand what are your interests, but then not only what are your interests, what are some of the classes that we think that we can leverage and make you shine. So the beautiful thing about AP, when we give AP exams, or whether it be the SAT, the school day, that's going to give us some insights. That's going to be able to tell us, hey, you know what? Although you're not taking an AP fill in the blank, you actually seem to have some pretty good intellect around this area. So then if we place students in these classes, that's going to, again, amplify their scholarship. And that's good. We can say that a student, not only are they on this basketball trajectory, but look at this, they're also on this academic trajectory. So it's this deep knowledge of students, while also knowing how do we build the schedule on a daily basis. So we have Christina Torrance, who's our Dean of Academics, who looks deeply at balancing the schedule of what our morning offerings from a class perspective are and what our afternoon classes offerings are, to make sure that just because our students are engaged deeply into the athletics, they're not limited by the classes that they might be able to offer and take that's going to, again, really build out their profile in a meaningful way. Beyond that, we have protocols in place for when they travel and when they're out of school and so forth. Homework assignments, checking with teachers, making sure they have all the information they need to stay engaged. And obviously, we also have study hours at night to make sure that our students are staying by. Because we know, and what we're very candid about, and I think this provides, because of my profile and playing Division I athletics and having to get recruited and go through the clearinghouse when I was in high school, we know that you're not going to play. You're not even going to get an offer if your academics are not where they need to be. So exactly. Those two things go together, and we're very explicit about that.
Indeed, and one thing I want to mention is one thing that and I like to tell this to families, no matter what division you're getting recruited on, let's say, for example, you are a Division III level athlete, and that's Boston. Mm-hmm. There are Division III conferences such as NASCAC, UMAC. There's Division I Patriot League, which are highly academic schools. If you get into one of those schools, such as maybe Babson or Hamilton,
Yeah.
they have need blind aid.
Mm-hmm.
Just you may not be able to get an athletic scholarship,
Sure.
but you will surely get financial aid and academic money if you're positioned well. And some of those teams, they recruit Division I level athletes.
Right.
We do have a student who's currently at Hamilton, and he got there with his academics.
Yeah.
His talent level was Division I, but he chose academics, and it was his strong academics that got him into this Division III school.
Absolutely.
That can literally compete with a low to mid-major Division I school on the court. So it's something that students should stay open to, but this is what good academics bring for you.
No question.
Now I'll just go to the next topic that I want to cover is now your proximity to Boston. Now big cities can be sometimes known to have some safety issues. Now you are close to Boston, but you're not in Boston.
Correct.
Can you tell me a little bit about campus safety and the well-being of students? How are they taken care of
Absolutely.
at CATS?
Yeah, no, important question. I think it's an important question on multiple levels. It's a big city, but then also as we think about just kind of the landscape of where we are from a social political standpoint as well. One of the things that I often like to lead with, and I'm quite pleased about, is the fact that we have a sheriff's office that is no more than 100 yards away from the front door of our school. And as we think about the school as a whole, they can get in and provide safety very, very quickly. Beyond that, we have great relationships with the EMS, the fire department. They'll come and tour the school multiple times throughout the year just to make sure that they're proficient and they understand where the opportunities are and where the entry points are as well. We, in addition to that, we have Res Life individuals who are responsible for the safety and security. We have 2 individuals who provide security laps throughout the day, throughout the evening as well, just to make sure that, our students are safe and secure. And I was going to say climbing out windows. They don't do that. But no, it's, just to make sure that they're exactly, they're safe. Here's the thing, is the fact that we have students that come from every corner of the world. And as a result of that, we see it as our moral obligation to make sure that the safety that we provide is intentional and is developmentally appropriate for our students. And what that might look like as an 8th grader might need a little bit more support, and might that be even, hey, you can't use your gaming system for a period of time. I think there's emotional safety there. If you're exhausted, you're not going to be able to show up at school as your best version of self. If you don't show up at school, you've done damage to what your GPA is going to look like over time. So the physical safety, yes, we have that from proximity of the sheriff's department, but then the emotional safety is making sure that the safety we provide is developmentally appropriate.
That's good to know. That's good to know. I think it's very important from a family standpoint of view. Sending kids 5,000-6,000 miles away from home, that's an assurance that they need to have.
Absolutely.
Speaking of students, what would you say would be the best fit as a candidate to come to CATS? So could you describe a student that would be a perfect fit for CATS?
I think the perfect fit for CATS is a curious student. What I like to tell people is that CATS Academy Boston is not only a microcosm of the U.S., it's a microcosm of the world. And so as you think about inter and intracultural proficiency, CATS Academy Boston provides you that opportunity to open your door and talk to somebody from Serbia, open your door and talk to somebody from China, open your door and talk to somebody from Canada. Where are there places? There's not many places that you can do that. And so as you think about what you want and the proficiency and how you want to lead, as we think about young adults and in this world, the opportunities and the practice you have to interact with people that might have a different storyline, a different lived experience, and be able to have appreciation for those identities and those lived experiences, your cultural proficiency is going to accelerate far beyond what students that might be in more of a, that's not an international education. And so that's what I really think. So who's right for Boston is anybody who's curious, anybody that has passion in the arts, anybody who has passion in athletics, and certainly academics. But it first starts with curiosity, and then it layers on this appreciation for the diversity that CATS Boston offers.
That's lovely. That's very nice. And Boston is that kind of place, just by being Boston with all the schools, universities that it has.
Absolutely.
Now, could you share with us a success story of one student who came to CATS, graduated there, and their story, just in short?
Yeah,
I believe there are many, but if you could choose one.
Yeah, I think I'll talk about the student who is going to Cornell this year. So this young man came to CATS Academy Boston as a ninth grader and spent all 4 years with us at CATS Academy Boston. And what I like most about this young man is the fact that he took some initiative to start the clubs that he was interested in. He took some initiative to make connections with staff members that were intriguing to him, but maybe he didn't have classes with. And so there's also part of that story is the fact that at CATS Academy Boston, we want to hear from our students. Their voice is equally as important as my voice as the head of school, because it's their experience and I'm responsible for delivering their experience. And so the fact that he was able to advocate for a club that he was interested in, because of that club, other people joined. And so that was something he was able to write about on his senior position paper.
He made an impact.
He made an impact to the school. And as a result, now, yes, we'd like to say that we had something to do with it, but I think the fact that we provided that safe space for him where he felt comfortable being courageous, advocating for self, creating an experience, and now he gets to further his studies. In addition, we were just able to surprise him this last week, with a scholarship that he earned of $30,000. And so very, very pleased, very, very happy for him. And so again, the takeaway from this is the fact that started as a ninth grader, advocated for self, saw an opportunity, gave back, was able to tell that story, and now he has an outcome that is very, very favorable for him.
And he's in Cornell.
He is.
That's an amazing school. If a student is watching this and thinking, this could be an opportunity for me, what would you tell to that student?
I would say, if you want to level up, talk to Milos.
Thank you. But let's say from your perspective.
Sure. I would say do your research. There are so many remarkable schools out there, so many remarkable schools. As head of school, I love to position ourselves as, again, that three-pronged developmental opportunity: athletics, the arts, and academics. If you're interested in those areas, consider CATS Boston. If you're interested in developing your multicultural lens, consider CATS Boston. If you're interested in being proximal to Boston and learning about the history of the United States and being able to go and listen to different presentations, consider CATS Boston. I think that we are a school that is nimble enough because we're also new. I think sometimes schools that have a long history, they might be set in certain ways, and that's not a negative connotation or anything negative to say, but it is to say that as we continue to grow, we want to be reflective practitioners of our work, and because of the size and because of our location, we're able to do that. So there's meaningful feedback loops that we also offer, but the right student, as I said before, is curiosity. And what would I say to somebody who's interested? Is dive in, learn about you, and figure out how we can be part of your journey in a meaningful way.
Thank you so much, Michael. That was very meaningful.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dragi gledalci, hvala I vama što ste ispratili još jednu epizodu Perspektiva. Ukoliko vas zanima srednja škola CATS Boston, budite slobodni da nam se javite na e-mail ili pišete na telefon ili pozovete. Pa do sljedeće epizode. Pozdrav!